Hello, I'm Chuckles. This is my room. That is not my poster. I don't even know who that is. Sorry, soccer fans. When we last left off, I was on a plane in Kosrae, my last stop before Pompeii. Ever since I changed planes in Honolulu, I had been on the same plane in the same seat. It was a window seat, and even though I had one guy on the aisle in my row, there was never anyone right next to me in the middle. The guy on the aisle got off in Kosrae, and that's when a local Pompeian named Redjay started talking to me, guessing correctly that my final stop was the same as his. We talked about how cool it was that we had gone this whole time without having anyone right next to us. We jinxed ourselves. Not really, what happened next was inevitable. We just didn't know it. A tropical storm had swept through Pompeii a few days earlier, making it impossible for planes from other islands to fly. This left all sorts of people planning to go to Pompeii stranded on Kosrae. Today was the day they tried to come back. All of them. I am glad I'm not claustrophobic. Of course, if I were, I would never get on any plane anyways. Side note, the owner of Ace Hardware was on my flight. He is as Caucasian as German can be, and is a Pompeian citizen. And I'm told mainly only speaks Pompeian. Thankfully, Kosrae to Pompeii isn't a very long flight, all things considered, and soon I was touching down in Pompeii. At last it was time to go through immigration. It was cloudy when we all exited the plane onto the tarmac, and I feared for the equipment that I was lugging as carry-ons, but fortunately the sudden, instantaneous torrential downpour only started after everyone had formed lines inside. There was one line for returning locals and one line for visitors, which was much longer. Eventually they wised up and brought in another guy to let twice the foreigners through, but it still took ages for me to get to the booth. Finally though, I made it! To customs! Here we all realized it was futile to be impatient in the line for immigration, as the baggage claim area hadn't even begun to unload everyone's luggage. Save for one haggard cardboard package, lonely circling the carousel, no one taking it. Finally, my suitcases arrived, and after only a brief pause at customs to swear to them up and down that I was smuggling no peaches, ferrets, or geraniums into the country, I was free to exit. An hour or so late, but my people were already waiting for me. By people, I mean the founder and executive director of Mahi International, John Schroer, his wife Catherine, their two children, Kai and Michaela, to whom I was immediately introduced as Uncle Charles, and two volunteers, Chris and Chapman. One of whom I was connected to through PUC, the other, I had no idea, but he's cool. I was also introduced to the destruction from the storm. Everywhere you looked, houses had been knocked down, roofs caved in, trees had fallen, and the trees that hadn't fallen were dead and brown from the damage. The Mahi house that I was immediately supposed to move into was without power after a tree had fallen, destroying the power and telephone lines. So all the volunteers were relocated to John and Kat's house until the Mahi house could be restored. Which it has. This is it. So that was the end of my journey. But it's not the end of my journey. Seriously, it's been great. I've only had about 2 weeks to get to know the people of Missions Across His Islands International, but they and the people of Pompeii have welcomed me with open arms. Recently, I went with Chapman to a send-off party for the current batch of SMs at the middle school who are leaving soon. During his speech, the principal of the school mentioned Chapman by name and then said, "And to our other volunteer, who we hope will do great works while he is here." I'd barely been here a week and he already knew who I was. Didn't know my name, but welcomed me just the same. Chris actually left last week and Chapman is going to be leaving in a few days, at which point I too will be departing. I'm going to the island of Sapwafik, which is actually an atoll, where I will meet up with another volunteer, Danny Chung, who I'm going to be spending the next several weeks with. Details about that in the next vlog. For now, I shall simply say I am having a blast. Look forward to my first official videos from the islands, if I haven't posted them already, and please give a like, a follow, and or a subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you soon with more harrowing tales. Till then,